Well, Africa is rich in history, and monuments that are erected are part of the testimony of the many civilizations that have lived here. That's why archaeologists from 14 countries stressed recently in Bahrain at a conference on Islamic archaeology the importance of promoting the many archaeological sites of the Islamic period within the African continent, a key tourism potential but remains underexploited.
Archaeological tourism is now the mainstay of the old city of Volubilis, Morocco. This archaeological site was an important 3rd century BC outpost of the Roman Empire. It is said to be one of the richest such sites in North Africa today, indicating the existence of several civilizations from a Christian era to an Islamic period. Various experts recently attended the Islamic Archaeology in Global Perspective conference in Bahrain to help understand the important role that archaeology has to play in large parts of Africa.
In the far west, in Morocco, for example, we have at the site of Volubilis, famous site, UNESCO site, wonderful evidence for the transformation of diet, for the transformation of burial practices, for the use of new types of dishes, cooking practices that all come in the 8th century. So this would suggest that in that area at least, a very early spread of Islam. Now this is not the case everywhere in North Africa.
While Egypt has been leading the boom in archaeological tourism, which was dependent on earlier civilizations such as the Pharaonic era, Islamic Cairo is now catching up with great interest. The hope is that many parts of Sub-Saharan Africa with Islamic heritage can meet their tourism potential. In Mali, for example, the towering Great Mosque of Djenné, which was designated a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 1988, is a major attraction. The mud brick building is considered by many architects to be one of the greatest Sudano-Sahelian achievements. It was built by the people in the Sahel and Sudan region during the expansion of Islam in the 14th century. The old town of Djenné includes 4 archaeological sites with nearly 2,000 houses whose decorative facades have remained intact since the 3rd century BC. A professor of archaeology at the University of Ghana says there are still many more historic architectural sites on the continent that are yet to get the attention they deserve.
If you look at the funding in particular, it's always a problematic in many African countries, and Ghana is not an exclusion. Because if I'm working in a museum where we're supposed to get money to do our own independent research, but we don't have money, mostly you have to rely on the foreign researchers who come, so that if you have an interest in whatever they are doing, you use part of it to also write on.
Across the continent, along the East African coastline, Stone Town, the old part of Zanzibar's main city, was a major trading point between Asia and Africa for centuries. Famed for its historic buildings and white sandy beaches, Zanzibar attracts hundreds of thousands of visitors every year. But some scholars argue that old stone towns have shadowed many other interesting aspects of the coast, and tourists often overlook earlier Islamic settlements and civilizations. Many of Africa's archaeological treasures are yet to meet their tourism potential. By starting a special drive to promote Islamic heritage in Africa, experts hope to contribute towards drawing more visitors to the continent, to contribute towards increasing revenue for countries.